Hello, and welcome back. I am Maester Aelix, and this is ShadowRun Returns, Dragonfall. We are right back where we left off here in our base, because we're about to talk to Paul about what we found at Winter's. News travels fast, Aiduken. It seems a small group of well-armed assassins entered the Das Castle house earlier today and cleaned house, so to speak. If you believe the tale, the controlling gang was eliminated down to the last man. Then the assailants strolled calmly out the front door, leaving a rather interesting power vacuum in the residence of Dragonkip in their wake. Amsel fixes you with a hard stare. You wouldn't have to know anything about that, would you? Etiquette academic. Ooh, I can use this one. They had it coming, for our actions altered the balance of power in Dragonkip. It was simply an example of the flux in action. An interesting theory. The flux does seek to depose those who overstep their bounds of power, it is true. But I am not convinced that the elimination of the entire gang was the only way in which a more egalitarian state of affairs could be reached. Nor am I convinced it will be an improvement for the people of Dragonkeep. Only time will tell. But enough of this. We have more pressing matters to discuss. I'm sorry I didn't have the skills to, schmooze my way in. God. Amsel's expression is harder than you've seen before. When he speaks, his voice is grim. Iger has told me of Green Winter's death. She said that he died in the same manner as Monica did. It wasn't a pretty sight. Amsel nods gravely. I know that you and Iger have had your differences. I will tell you that she was badly shaken by the sight of Winter's body. She also mentioned that you found something in Winter's safe, a package full of very old discs. May I see them? Sure, of course. Good God. Gingerly, Amsel lifts the disc from the bundle and holds it up in the light. Slowly, he begins to turn it in his hand, causing a rainbow of patterns to shimmer across its surface. I haven't seen one of these since I was a boy. This is a DVD-RW, a data storage medium from the mid-2000s. I'm amazed that Winters was able to find a device that could still play it. Do you know how we can read these things? He puts the DVD into his hands and quickly inspects the others. The first disc that it looked might be readable. The others are damaged, some severely so. I have my doubts about them. For now, let's concentrate on the undamaged disc. There's a little shop outside, Data Haven. Talk to the proprietor, Malit Holye. She might be able to help. Tell her to put the cost of the device on my account. I'm on it. Yeah. I may not be his errand girl, but I am the team leader, so... yeah. Okay. Out we go. Bye, Dante. Have yourself a wonderful day. Unless you're coming with, then by all means, please come with. Oh, you're coming with. Excellent. Whoa. Welcome back. What can I do for you? Let's see. I'm looking for something that can play back a DVD-RW. Really? That is old tech. Very old. In fact, just a moment. I will go look. She turns and rummages through her bin of obsolete components, then at the back of her stall. Ah, yes, here we are. The dwarf wrestles a mid-sized flat-screen display out of the bin. This display is old enough to... This display has old enough hookups to connect to a DVD player. RCA, you know, vintage. The player itself, though, this I do not have. You may wish to try your luck down at the junkyard. There's a scavenger there. Primitive man with a crude disposition. If anyone here in the Kurtz Bazaar can help you find your DVD player, he can. But he will almost certainly attempt to overcharge you for it. She takes a deep breath and smiles up to you. But you're not here for gossip. Shall we conclude our business? I could give you this play for, say, 200 new yen? Paul Amsel said to charge it to his account. Ah, very well. I'll have it packaged up and delivered to Herr Amsel right away. Best of luck finding your DVD reader. I wish you well. And we have an ancient monitor. Look for the DVD player. Okay. Oh goodness, what is going on? Oof. Ah, there we go. That is odd. Oof. Shrotty. A stout old man looks up from whatever old tech he's tinkering with to squint it at you through thick, old-fashioned glasses. Pushes him up with an oil-stained finger as he straightens up to nod at you. He speaks with a gruff, well-meaning tone, heavily accented by German tonality. Guten Tag. What can I do for you? Millet tells me you're the man to speak to about DVDs. The little shrew sent you my way, huh? Shrotty smiles, broadens. Will wonders never cease? Well, introductions are in order, I suppose. Shrotty Butchman, at your service. The old man raises a grimy hand in salute. Need something scavenged? Old components? Vigilect? I'm your man. Wonderful. How about that DVD player? Well, let's see. I think I've got something that'll work. Charlie rummages through the junk heaped in the table behind him. A few seconds later, he snatches a battered plastic lozenge shape from the pile. Ah, here we go. An old Korean player I dug up last week. 2010 model. A real beauty. His smile broadens and gives you a conspiratorial wink. I fixed her up and got her running, but without any disc to read, I've mostly been using her as a paperweight. Sounds like what I'm looking for. How much do you want for it? He glances back to the DVD player, a rueful expression. Well, I'll admit, I'm loath to part with her. There's plenty of folks who would really appreciate older players such as this. I don't know what your intentions are for it. I suppose, given the time and trouble I took to put her back together, I'd be willing to part with her, oh, say, 500 new yen? Ah. Let's see. Can I offer you something in trade? The old man paused for a moment. Tell you what, a few months ago I had a, well, call it a difference of opinion with the Bergazzi fellow from the soy calf shop. He hasn't let me in the establishment since. I'd sell my mother for a decent cup of coffee. Well, here. I hands over the as it happens, I have a mug right here. Ah, thank you. He gratefully accepts the coffee, then snaps the lid back and inhales deeply, wiggling his mustache as he appreciates the scent. Ah, that's the real stuff, all right. Shrouded gingerly picks up the ancient device from the table and presses it into your hands. Its plastic is scuffed and worn. It rattles a bit when you move it. Give her some good use, okay? Well, that's nice. Alright, now we can return to Paul. Alright. Running slowly back. I don't know why things are slow. Come along, Dante. Ah, there we go. People, we're home. Hi, Paul. It seems that Amstel has assembled the team in your absence. The standard group around the old display that you had Millet deliver. On their faces you can see excitement and apprehension, curiosity and dread. Aiduken, have you procured a DVD reader? Hands him the player. I have. It's right here. Good. This should only take a moment. Amstel disappears behind the ancient display after a few minutes of fiddling with its battered inputs. He reappears, satisfied look in his face. Everything appears to be functional. The dish should be ready to play. Well, don't keep us in suspense. Start the damned thing already. Aiduken went through all the trouble of fetching everything. Let her do the honors. As Amstel steps back, clearing a path, you access the antique machine. Alright, well, away we go. Our DVD player. As the soft whirring fills the air, the ancient DVD player spins the disc up to speed. The scratched LCD comes to life and the menu fills with screen. Track 1. The screen goes black. A cheerful digital chiming sound spills out of the display speaker. A crackle of static fills the air, coupled with a shrill electronic whine. After a few moments, the display goes live. A disheveled-looking man appears on the screen. His eyes glitter with excitement. The time stamp on the screen says 2034, 9:15. Hermie, I think I found her. After all this time. Feuerswing, I knew that she wasn't dead. His speech is jittery. You can hear the urgency in his voice. She survived the Dragonfall, just as I've always said. I knew it, and I was right. The screen explodes into static, and the electronic whine in the background sharpens into a needle-like pulse of high-pitched sound. Somewhere in the background, Dante lets out a low whimper. The screen clears, and his excited face is closer to the screen than it was before. The words spill out of him in a breathless tide. Taking team into the SOX to retrieve her. The radiation be damned. We will be appropriate precautions, of course, but we must go. Hermie, I think the body may be nearby as well, and somehow she has survived for all this time. The screen explodes into static again, then clears. The figure flickers on the screen. May not be for some time. Look after Mom, okay? I worry about her. And Hermie, stay safe out there. I know that things are heating up in Berlin, and I know you. Student protests, civil uprisings. You'll be in the middle of it, I'm sure. Just stay safe, all right? And I'll do my best to do the same. I don't know what's going to happen when I step into the SOX, but I know one thing. If Firewing is still in danger, I will put an end to her, once and for all. Oh. Track 2. The screen goes black for a moment, then a figure appears on screen. Your client, Green Winters. His elbow is planted on the table, and he's seated at it, and his chin rests on his palm. The other hand is wrapped around a bottle of cheap whiskey. 2053, 1225. Found the message that Adrian left me all those years ago. Got it cleaned up best I could. Strange, hearing his voice again. He pauses to take a long pull of the bottle. It's good to hear him, even if he did insist on calling me Hermie. Dr. Adrian Vauclair, hero of the people, the Dragon Slayer, my brother. He grimaces and rubs his eyes. Hard to believe it's almost 20 years. Alright, so I'm gonna record these DVDs again, for me, for Adrian, for whoever might wind up watching them. Every time I do this, it winds up feeling like a waste of time, but I keep doing it anyway, on the off chance that I'll find something important. If I stumble into a clue that leads me to my brother, I know that I'm gonna want it on film. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, after all. No sense in quitting now. Christ, 20 years, all this time, and still no leads. Even with all my contacts and my resources, he takes another long swig of the cheap liquor. Even with my legendary bullheadedness, I have made no progress at all. I haven't turned up a single goddamned thing. Want to hear something funny? The closest I've gotten to was a clue was a rumor. Apparently, a team emerged from the SOX a while back. Nobody clear on the date, but get this. He leans into the camera and spears to a wink. Supposedly they had vanished without a trace. He upends a bottle, drains it, slams it back down on the table, his eyes rimmed with red. Not much of a rumor, considering I already know that you're gone, big brother. I live with that every day. Aww. There's a grinding sound from the DVD tray, and the Green Winters image appears on the screen. There's an eager look on his face. 2054, 1012. Stumbled upon this archival footage of Flarswing's original attack, months before the Dragonfall. Easy to forget how devastating it was. Adrian saved a lot of people by bringing her down. And I've got the footage all queued to play. Starting it now, additional comments to follow. The slow whir of the DVD player shifts into a high-pitched whine. A distorted, wavering image blooms into being on the screen. A timestamp appears in the upper right-hand corner of the mark that says July 6, 2012. It's difficult to make out what you're seeing at first. The screen is dark and smoky, and the telltale flashes of emergency vehicle lights flicker in the periphery of the screen. The camera pushes in, and you can make out two figures standing in a ruined landscape. All at once, the sound cuts in. Again, for those of you just joining us, we're coming to you live from Stolberg. A few hours ago, the Dragon Floatswing launched an unprovoked attack on the sleepy Hertz Mountain town. And you can see the results behind me. Fire, ashes, and blood. We are joined tonight by the survivor of this attack, and most horrifying attack. The reporter turns to face a pale man standing behind him. Sir, I understand that you've been through terrible ordeal. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us tonight. Yes, of course. The camera switches to focus on a middle-aged man with a haunted look in his eyes. He stammers out a reply. If you could, sir, could you tell the people at home your experience of the attack? It was horrible. Just pure chaos. So many people are dead. People I knew. Roasted alive or trampled to death trying to escape. My own house was burned to the ground during the attack. My family. We have nothing now. And you made it through the attack, though. Your wife and your kids? Yeah, we made it, thank God. We rode out the attack in a small shelter, me, my wife, and our 2 daughters. The shelter, it protected us, but the heat was just unbearable. We couldn't have stayed in there much longer than we did.
How long were you holed up in there?
3, maybe 4 hours? I don't know. We just stayed inside until the heat died down and the screaming stopped.
What happened after that?
Then it was over, you know. The air cooled down, and we stepped outside. There was nothing left, just smoldering wreckage and the dense cloud of black, oily smoke, and the stench in the air. Oh God, that smell. It smelled like roasting meat. There's a long pause from the tortured look on his face, and you tell the man is struggling to decide whether or not to continue speaking. Eventually, he does. My girls, they found what was left of their nanny outside. Her body, what was left of it, was slumped against the shelter door. I kept telling myself I couldn't hear her pounding to get in, but it wasn't true. I could. I just couldn't bring myself to open the door. I couldn't risk my family like that. Not for her. Not for anyone.
Thank you, sir, for taking time to speak with us.
Yeah.
You heard it here, an absolutely chilling account of tonight's attack. Again, the town of Stolzberg has been reduced to ash, another victim of Firewing. Stay with us for more up-to-the-minute reporting on Firewing's Reign of Terror.
Green Winter's face reappears on screen. Okay, it's time for a new approach. Adrian's complete dead end. That much is pretty clear by now, so I'm going to do some digging on Firewing instead. Let's see where this goes. The screen abruptly goes black and the video cuts off. A few minutes later, you find yourself returned to the menu. Track 4. And the DVD player ramps up to speed, filling the air with a shrill whining sound. Green Winter's image appears on the screen. The timestamp of the video reads 2054-1031. Well, that was a bust. Little progress on Firewing either. Shakes his head. I don't know, it's weird. The information is there, it's just wrong somehow. It's too well laid out, too simple. Real life is messy. And this feels a little too neat. That's not the only thing nagging at me. I've got this tingly feeling all up and down my back and my neck again. Feels like I'm being tracked. I'm no Matrix hotshot like Clockwork or Schaefer, but I'm good enough to know that when someone's on my scent, gotta install some new security measures. Can't be too careful. Winter's image disappears. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu returns. Play track 5. The display goes blank for a moment, then the face of Green Winters winks onto screen. He is seated at a computer. To his left, an enormous monitor fills the screen. His voice carries an edge of panic. The timestamp reads 2054-1109. Christ, I'm getting too close to something. There's a trail of bodies, and they've been disappearing. Clockwork, Marcian, Peregrine, they're all disappeared in the past few years. Clockwork just went AWOL yesterday, and they were just making the same sorts of inquiries about Firewing that I've been. There are ghost stories spreading around the Decker community. Stories about Deckers disappearing and then showing up again later, but wrong somehow. Scary stuff. I'm starting to think that it's true. Blitz leans into his ear. I know the stories he's talking about, Chief. Never really put much stock into them. Till now. Could these rumors be related to what's happening here? Am I being paranoid? He paused for a moment, as if seriously considering the question. He then shakes his head and slams his fist on the table. No, I don't think so. Something big is happening here, and I'm right in the middle of it. Iger cuts in. That's a bit of a leap. One other thing. Tolstoy told me a story about a kill team that might be related to all of this. Apparently, a Decker named Hellbore posted a theory about Firewing on the Shadowland BBS about 5 years ago. About an hour later, a mil-spec team showed up in meat space and cooked his entire apartment, with her in it. What if Tolstoy told me was true? Hellbore live posted the event. She described her killer, the great big orc with skin grafts. The whole thread disappeared, gone without a trace. Leap, Iger love? Sounds like he was right on track to me. Iger holds her silence, but concedes a point with a small nod. On screen, Winter pauses. He looks like he's working on something. Finally speaks. I'm just going to go out and say it. This has got to be Firewing. All of it. Adrian was right about her. She's still alive, and she's out in the SOX. She's covering her tracks, working in the shadows, preparing to rise again. And that means I have to find you, Adrian, for everyone's sake. Thankfully, I've got a lead. The first time in 2 decades, I've got a solid goddamned lead. I've backtraced all the Matrix nodes that Hellbore was looking into, back before she got cooked. Who's ever been purging the Matrix didn't think about that, and I found what she's turned up. Winters stabs a few keys on his keyboard, and an image expands on the screen, a monitor, a silhouette photo of a rural landscape, annotated with GPS date, and a set of map coordinates. So now, I've got a target, a place to start digging. The Harfield Manor, conveniently located in an isolated stretch of countryside, miles away from prying eyes. Matrix records indicate that some sort of data vault exists beneath the estate, so that's what I need to get into. And this is where we came in, says Glory. As if on cue, a familiar image winks into the monitor and Winter's left. Monica. I think I'm gonna tap Schaefer for this job. She's got the skills to bypass whatever security they're running out there, and she's gullible enough to take the job in the first place. I'll feed her some line about Flux State security, and she'll eat it up with a spoon. I warned her, Ansel's voice choked with rage. I warned her. On the display, Winter's mouth parts into a broad grin. Time to put plans into motion. By this time tomorrow night, I should have information I need. And on the off chance that Schaefer gets taken out, well, that'll tell me something too. Can't make an omelet and all that. Till then. Winter's image disappears. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu returns. Play track 6. When you play the 6th track, the small video window appears. You recognize the scene in the window. You're looking at the tattered drapes of nicotine-stained wallpaper of Winter's hotel room in Das Kessel House. 2054, 11:10. There's a blur of motion, and a haggard form of Green Winter slumbered into a frame. Suspicions confirmed. Schaefer is dead. Christ. Winters reaches a shaking hand off camera. A moment later, he returns, clutching a cheap plastic drinking glass. He gulps something down, wipes his mouth with the back of hand, and takes a deep breath. Okay. Back up. Slow down. Start from the beginning. Winters closes his eyes for a moment and makes a visible effort to calm himself. When we speak again, his voice is steady. I got the call from my contact at the Kurtz Bazaar. Schaefer killed on the estate run. Matrix security on the estate cooked her brain. Considering Schaefer's skill and experience, the on-site ice must have been extreme, even by Berlin standards. Security of that kind costs money, real money. Given the evidence uncovered so far, corporate involvement is unlikely. The connection to Firewing is too strong. So, let's come out and say it. The dragon is what we're dealing with here, and the smart money says that she's coming for me next. Well, I won't go down without a fight. I still got my contacts, still got my connections, and the Flux State can be a hell of a weapon for a man who knows how to manipulate it. Winters takes another long pull from his glass, grimaces, and swallows. Time for me to make my play. Ghost stories or no, missing Deckers or no, I've got to jack into the Matrix and start pulling strings. The countermeasures that I have installed earlier should be more than enough to keep me safe for the 20 minutes I'll need in there. Winters drains the rest of his glass and tosses it over his shoulder. A moment later, you hear the dull, clattering sound of hard plastic on linoleum. Schaefer's death was tragic. She was a staunch supporter of the F-State, but still, all things considered, better her than me. Winter's face flinches and off-screen. A moment later, his hand reappears clutching a data jack cable. He plugs the cable into his head, and the screen cuts to static. Eject the DVD. As your finger nears the eject button, the black screen cuts over to a static. A moment later, Green Winter's Haggard appears. If you're watching this, then I guess they caught up with me. They will be after you too now. Blitz whispers into your ear, more harshly this time. What the hell is this? Why didn't you warn me about this before I came here? Let's see. Not now, Blitz. Hey, everybody, Blitz is scared. We didn't know. Okay. We didn't know. Not exactly. Not exactly. I didn't come here to get haunted by a dragon. I'm not even part of this. You are now, whether you like it or not. So quiet down and stop bothering her. Whoever you are, whatever you think you're after, you need to find Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Not because he's my brother, because its Firewing is rising again. He is the only one who can stop her. You've seen what happens to people who get too close to this. I'm dead, and dozens of others have died. You'll be next unless you find Adrian. The screen cuts back to static. The message is over. The DVD tray slides out of the reader. Oh, wow. Paul. The room goes quiet as everyone struggles to process what you've just seen on the DVD. Finally, Dietrich breaks the silence. A dragon. Son of a bitch. Green Winters sent us up against a dragon. The Firewing. Amsel's voice is thick with dread. She lives. I'm really starting to regret the fact that I didn't stay at the hotel. Iger ignored him. Wait a second. We don't know for certain. Dietrich lays a hand on Iger's shoulder. The evidence seemed pretty convincing to me, love. I'll even take a step further. I think that secret facility that we stumbled across was her lair. The room falls silent. Iger and Gloria exchange glances. After a moment, Dietrich continues. Just think about it. The Decker that Winters got those coordinates from was posting about Firewing. Then she was killed by some orcish bastard that attacked us after Monica died. That's a direct link between the dragon, the scarred orc, and the Harfield Manor. And when Winters was killed by the same thing that killed Monica. Exactly. My gut tells me the dragon is down there, Aiduken. Someplace far beneath the surface. I think we knocked on the door in her lair and without even knowing it. And I think that, given what we've seen, the dragon will do whatever it takes to keep us quiet about it. Okay, going the assumption that there is a dragon, and she will come after us, what do you propose about it? We're going to follow Winter's advice. We're going to find Valclair. I say keep things simple. We head back there, kick down the door, kill the dragon, problem solved. We're going to find Valclair. Yes, Aiduken is right. Finding Valclair should be our priority. If we're going to stand up against a dragon, we need to find ourselves a dragon slayer. Winter spent 20 years searching for Valclair, and it got him nowhere. How do you propose that we find him? With the help of our information broker. Let's see. Do you have any suggestions? The task of this magnitude, we need to make contact with the premier information broker of Berlin. We need to talk to Alice. Who's this Alice? A most prominent figure in Berlin's shadowy community, ex-Schockenwellnitzer. She provides information retrieval services for the F-State. Amsel turns the computer console behind him and runs his finger over the virtual keyboard. The machine begins to hum. If Winters is right, and if Valclair is still alive, she can help us find him. The console spits out a stick of black plastic. Amsel plucks it from his computer and hands it to you. Here, your key to speak with Alice. A cred stick? An encoded cred stick, yes. 10,000 new yen. Alice will not show her face for any less. This represents the last of my personal savings, Aiduken. Make this meeting count. Alright. Where do I need to go? Take the U-Bahn to the Allestedt Spendel. There you will find a connection tube that locals refer to as the rabbit hole. You will find a method of contacting Alice there. Don't call it that in front of her, though. Word on the street she hates it. Please hurry. While you're out, I will work on acquiring new contacts for the team. Alice is the best there is at what she does, and her services carry a price tag to match. Wow. All right. Well, it's more than a bit heavy. So here's where I will say thank you all for joining me. I hope you're enjoying my content as much as I'm enjoying making it for all of you. And you know I do because I just keep making videos. If you like this video, then please remember to, hit that like button. And anything else you'd like to do, that'd be great. And if you really like what I do overall, please check out the links down below. I'd love to see you all on my Discord or even see you on my new Twitter feed. So anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I shall see you all next time.